We're live.
This is the City of Bisbee Transit Advisory Committee, recording and starting at 1:06 p.m. Let's see. We have Tony Bedoya, which is not here. Rita Smith.
I'm here.
Okay. We have Humberto.
I'm here.
Noel is not here. Lorena
Here.
is here. Chris Vertrees is not here. Jessica is not here.
But Angelica is.
Angelica is from.
I'm gonna go with your last name?
Novoa? Novoa?
Novoa.
Where are we? Richard Stein from Sierra Vista, which he's not with the
He's
Sierra
gonna,
Vista.
yeah, I gotta get
He's
him.
not with Sierra Vista anymore.
Okay.
And we don't have Chanel. Keita, yes, I knew it was different. I knew it was different. Keita Williams, she's here. Angel,
She's on the
she's
phone.
on the phone, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our city liaison is not here, Anna Klein. Matthew Gurney, that's me. We also have Logan Dodd, operations manager. And we
And
don't
you
have.
skipped me, but I'm here.
No, I said you.
Did you? I didn't see. Oh, yeah,
I
you
did.
did, huh? I said I was here. Never mind. Right. You
And
were
then
ignoring
Aubrey Perry is not here. We don't have any call to the public, so we'll skip that. And then does everybody have did everybody see the minutes from our last November 16th meeting? Do you have those out there, Lorena?
Yeah, they have come.
Do I have any, whenever you're ready, a recommendation for approval?
Can I make a motion to approve the minutes from the, what date is it, November 16, 2022, approved as presented?
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. We have yes. Alrighty. Moving on to item 2, which you put me on here, and I don't know exactly what you were thinking, but for financial statement item 2. I mean,
Just where we're at. with
just,
the-
yeah, I guess we can just say, I mean, right now, do you know what percentage we're at? This is from January, so that was about 50% mark for the year. So you can kind of see, the last line item is the percentage of where we're at on those line items. So a few of them are, a little above as of now, but that might change over time, so. You can see the first line item is our property casualty liability. We're at 57% of the budget on that. Then we have just admin, miscellaneous expenses. We're we're low on that. We're only at 20% at the January point. Then we have contracted operating expenses, which is at 59.6, which that might be because we had the increase in October, right, Humberto?
Yeah.
So that might be why it's a little high.
Review the contracts and they went up a little bit on that.
Yeah, so that might be why we're a little high on that part. And then we have the city operating expenses, that's doing good, it's only at 39% allocated, right? has been used. And then obviously postage is low as well. And then fuel and lubricants, you can see out of 30,000, we've used about 15, so, and which is good, so we're at about half, just under half of for the year, so that's looking good. And then capital expenditures is nothing so far, which we have, that includes the, excuse me, the bus lift and stuff,
Yes.
correct? So that's something, we'll be purchasing a 4-point lift for the buses to lift from the tires up to be able to lift them all the way up off the ground at all points. So that's something that we're going to be looking at here in the future. So that percentage will be going down on that line item. So, but yeah, any questions on these financials? All right. Move on to item 3. Discussion and possible recommendation to remove Tony Bedoya as a TAC member due to not having attended. He's never attended since he's been on here. So, I mean, I don't know what kind of discussion. I mean, he hasn't been here the whole time. So, my thought is, I mean, it doesn't make sense to keep him on.
Like a year?
Huh?
It's been
It's
like a year.
been, yeah, it's been close to a
Been
year
months,
at
yeah.
least, probably, so, I mean, and it's never showed
Has
up.
anybody contacted him, asking
Yeah.
him why the
Yep.
reason he's not?
But the last time I talked to him, he said Wednesdays were bad for him, so that's when we have him. So, you know,
Yeah,
I don't think he's gonna make it.
Yeah, well, I don't see the,
yeah,
why we continue with him, maybe we should remove him and start looking for somebody else to appoint him and maybe we'll get somebody that can come to the meeting.
Yeah.
do we have anybody that would wanna put that recommendation out?
Well, yeah.
I motion to remove Tony Bedoya from the committee due to not attending meetings. Second, anybody?
Yeah, I second that,
Sure.
the motion, yeah.
So, okay. We have a motion by Lorena to remove,
It's the first one there.
and a second by Umberto. Any questions?
Yeah, the only thing is you, after that, you need to ask everybody, if in agreement, just say yes, if not, nay, so.
Yes.
Everybody votes and say,
Uh,
if in agreement, just say yes, and I guess that's.
All in, everybody say aye in agreement?
Aye.
Nays? Alright, the yeas have it. Thank you. Alright, moving on to item 4. Presentation on the list of historical landmarks to be placed in a brochure for tourists to look at and while riding the Bisbee bus. Rita.
Yes, sir. So I work on it, and this is just something to bounce against. Obviously, it's not complete in any regard, but, and then I couldn't help noticing other things as I was riding the bus. So just FYI, you know, comments about bus stop names or locations that are no longer representative or accurate. And I tried to identify the stops that seem to have perhaps some tourist or new traveler interest. And so, you know, I haven't lived here that long. Some of this stuff you could add to it, you know, please, you know, add me if you don't, if you think that, you know, like Safeway, do we put anything by Safeway? But, you know, if I'm a tourist, I might want to go to the grocery. I don't know, but it's not exactly a historical case.
Yeah, nothing historical with that,
No.
really.
Well, and so that was part of the question, is what, is it historical or tourist, or is it purely historical?
Tourist / historical, but I mean,
It could
And
be
I'm-
informational as well as historical, I think.
yeah,
But that's for this stuff.
yeah, we
You
can.
know, like throw it in where the post office is and where
Right.
the library is and stuff like that.
And we might wanna, take pictures and,
Well,
you know,
that,
once we have what we
Right.
want, just take the
exactly.
pictures.
So once we have a list of which sites you're interested in, then I can go back and take some pictures.
Right.
And one of my questions was, do we want a picture of a nice picture of the historical site, or a picture from the bus stop looking at the, you know, I mean, so,
Probably,
mean, I can try both.
Yeah.
yeah, just the actual historical or the site itself.
yeah, I mean, like the
so.
ball field, you know, or
Right.
the
Yeah,
courthouse.
county courthouse,
Yeah.
yeah, I could see some of those.
So just going through it, do you kind of agree with the ones I made notes next to, calling historic tourist? And-
Yes, because you're giving more information and that could be used under the picture or whatever, once we try and set up a draft.
Right.
Also, it's helping us because those that are blank, I'm assuming the bus does not stop there?
No, the bus stops there, there was nothing historic or
nothing
tourist
historical.
in a Department of Economic Security.
Right,
You know, it's not something that most people are gonna care.
right. Okay, because soon we probably need to change our schedule, and that's something that we're probably gonna have to do, is see where those stops are not being made.
Well, this doesn't represent where people aren't.
Right.
I mean,
This
comments.
is just where you see those.
This is where there's historical interest.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
One thought I had when I was just scanning through this right now is, I can't remember the route exactly. I know the bus doesn't go by Camp Naco,
It's
But-
about a half a block from
but
Camp
that
Knox,
might be something that we would want to put in there because it's very close.
which is why I put it in there.
Yes.
And it's being developed, they got a grant, and they're
Yeah.
gonna make it more and better.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if we're gonna make a brochure, let's look ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's only like about a block and a half or 2 blocks the most. It's very close from
It's
where
not
they
far, you
stop.
can see it from the bus stop.
Yeah.
So. And, you know, and so one of the things is, do we give walking directions? If it's not really obvious.
Yeah,
I mean, you could
we
You
start
could
the
look at
brochure.
doing a short walking directions.
You know,
I
basically
mean,
just
a
2
block
blocks
or
on
whatnot
down
is not
Towner
that big a
Street or
deal.
something.
Right.
Yeah,
North of whatever.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
So it sounds like I mean, like Bisbee High School, Vietnam Veterans Memorial, I don't know. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody gonna go look for it? I don't know. Is there anything interesting about Tin Town? Anybody knows?
There's a park there. We're putting in a new playground there.
Oh.
That's about it.
So this is kind of a start.
Yes.
You like where I'm headed with it?
Yes.
Why don't you, we can go through a stop at a time, but that take a lot of time. Why don't y'all, is there any that you think should not be included as a historic/tourist info that I've made a comment next to? Like Douglas and B. That's kind of questionable.
I mean,
And maybe some of these do have a history, like in the neighborhood maybe, like Saginaw itself, how old is it? How long has it been?
Well, it's when they moved Lowell. A lot of those houses got
Yeah,
moved
it
from
used to be,
Lowell into
yes.
Saginaw.
So maybe that type of information we can have?
yeah. You
Okay.
put all these homes, at one point were all transported from Lowell, by Phelps Dodge,
Okay.
back before the open pit was built.
Excuse me. Were those homes owned by the mining company too, where they were quickly dim, or quick,
Quick
thank you.
Yeah, they were all owned by the mine at some point. Yeah, cause I had a house over there, and my house, when we were going through the deeds, it had all kinds of paperwork from Phelps Dodge.
Interesting.
So, you can't read half of it, or most of it, cause it's all old stuff, so you can't really make it out, but it's there.
And the number 26, this was interesting to me, but I don't know. Did you know that Naco was bombed in 1929 accidentally? It was the first bomb ever dropped on America.
Yeah.
It's
Accidental.
kind of funny. And there's a mural painted about it.
Hmm.
But I don't know.
No, that's great information, I think that's.
Another thing we could add with these stops, especially not necessarily ones in Old Bisbee, but Saginaw, Warren, and some of the other neighborhoods, is that, and possibly pointing out or showing pictures or pointing out the mine shaft elevators, A-frames that are around those neighborhoods, and signifying, I mean, this neighborhood was named after this mine shaft, or stuff like that, because most, if I remember, most of the neighborhoods are named after those different mine shafts that they're next to, correct?
I didn't know that.
Quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
who would have that information?
There's a lot of people, but Mike Anderson is a really good resource.
Yeah.
Well, and the
history.
Historic Mining Museum
Ah,
is a good one to go with.
I met this guy on the bus, just dumb right, who 20 years ago published a little pamphlet that he sold, and it was things to see from the Bisbee bus, and it had a bus ticket in it. And he said he'd look around in his files and see if he could send it to me. And he was really, I mean, he was like spouting off years and dates and names, and the guy really knew stuff. I'm really hoping he gets a hold of me, because it'd be fun to borrow against that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mike out there.
Yeah, it was just dumb luck, he writes it once a day.
Would that be in the museum, you think?
You know, it might be, yes. I'm trying to,
Do you remember his name? Was
I
it,
should have written it down.
was he right with the, reporter? Did he say something in reference to?
Oh, he told me his name, and I gave him my email, and he said he'd try and find it, but I should have wrote it down, because my memory's that one. Yeah, I'm sorry, the bus driver knew who he was, and he said he really knows everything about the neighborhood. Maybe I can just check at the library or the museum and see if they just have a copy.
Thank you for doing this.
Yes, it's a good step in the right direction.
Right.
Yeah, no, it was fun, I enjoyed it, actually.
All right,
And if y'all have any other comments about things to say on various locations or things not to say, if you wanted to send this out electronically, or just send me an email, if y'all all have my email, just say the stop number and your comment, maybe it would be easy for you.
Okay.
And I'll
And
forward it
since
on.
I had started something already, maybe in a format, maybe I can put some of this information in there
Sure,
and review it next time.
sure, that'd be great. Yeah, I just, you know, I don't even have Excel anymore on my computer, so maybe what I have. But some of the other note comments, I think, should be picked up when we look at our schedule review, because some of the stop names are no longer very accurate, and you don't know that if you don't go out there.
Right.
So, I mean, like, the CCAH, I don't know what that was, but it's not that anymore. The Minute Mart that was in Warren is gone, number 7. It's Washington Federal, but there's no Minute Mart anymore.
Oh, right, that's.
So I just, you know, want it to be helpful for the next time we review those things. Yeah.
Is the mini mart across the street?
There used to be one, yeah.
It was a long time ago, but it's gone,
Yeah.
and I don't know that, nothing's happened with that spot for a
Yeah,
while.
they've got a locked lease, so I think they're just sitting on it and getting paid. So,
Well, if you can make money doing nothing, that's nice. But, yeah, so I'd love to hear your comments. It was fun to work on, and if we agree on these are the spots we want to focus on, then I'll go out and get some pictures.
Okay.
JPEGs, if you have a size constraint, let me know.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Sure.
Any other questions or concerns or ideas on this?
I'll just not. Oh. I was gonna say, I mentioned you talking about this courthouse, the Copperman statue.
Mm-hmm.
Matt and I just found out that is solid copper for real.
It is.
And
Yeah.
why people call him the Iron Man just bugs the confuse.
Well, that's actually, that's the actual name. It's not, he's not the Copper Man.
Who calls him? When they put it up there, they called it the Iron Man? Even though it's made out of copper?
Yes, because
Oh, okay.
he's replicating the Iron Man of the mine. That's what it is. It's not
Okay.
Copper Man, it's the Iron Man.
Well, I just thought people just took the athletic event and somehow
And get
it
amazed.
fell into that name.
No.
All right, I'll fix this.
So what were the Iron Man of the mine?
Well, it's just the men that
They were
mine
hard.
the mines.
Okay, got it.
Iron Men.
Tough,
Like iron.
yeah, like the race.
Okay.
So,
I just
but yeah,
thought it was
underneath
good.
all those layers of paint, there is just straight copper.
Wow, I think compliments are better. I'll change it.
Hey, get it going.
So, and Bertha, you were gonna say something.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were gonna
No,
say
no,
something.
I just said no. Don't
Okay.
have anything to do.
All right. If there's nothing else, we'll move on to item 5, which we can really table this one, because this is what we, well, no, we can talk about it. We were looking at, talking with, the city of Douglas and ourselves to, look at this grant from the, who's it with, FTA, not the FTA.
So the electrical vehicle,
Yeah, the
the
grant,
chargers or the
no, the actual
residential
buses.
buses?
Yeah, buses and infrastructure. Anyways, we talked with, Aubrey from ADOT, and they said the only way that we can actually go after those grants is if ADOT does it for us. And they say they don't have enough employees to do that. So, we kinda have to just push that aside and, oh well.
So there are other funding sources, but because there's no staff at ADOT, and they're the ones that should apply, not us.
Yeah, we can't, just an entity can't apply for it, it has to
Which
be
is
from
sad, but.
the state level. So that's kinda, something we were looking forward to, but, well, that's kinda just got shut down, so.
So is that along the lines of like the, what is it, the 5309s and 5306 grants that they have for
No, it was,
projects?
what, who
It was
was
a
it from?
federal, it was.
It was, yeah,
FDA.
federal transportation grant,
Okay.
yeah,
Because I think I looked at it and talked to Aubrey about that too, and same
yeah,
answer.
yeah, so. All right, any other questions or anything on item 5? All right, item 6, ridership reports, Umberto.
Let me just pass on this, report, I have, graphs and all that information, basically just, ridership numbers. So, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, thank you.
I think we're gonna remind readers for that.
The first one you have right there, the very first graph, it keeps track of the past years, and then the current one, it's February, you can see the number, it's kind of low, 1,704. Then the next one, it just keeps, it's a graph where it shows the same thing, but it's year by year, so, and then the bottom one, it goes into more detail, it gives you the miles, hours, passengers, days of service, and probably it's a little low for the month, it's a short month, and then we had a holiday in it, so taking away about 3 days, 4 days, it makes a difference in the ridership,
Yeah.
so that's one of the reasons why you're kind of, the same happened with Douglas, you know.
And the weather.
And then you
too
have the
has a
weather,
lot to do
yeah,
with it.
so those things, when somebody was asking you why this, why that, kind of thing, there's a bunch of factors that you can take into consideration. So in this February, it's the shortest month, and then we have a holiday, we didn't work, and then the weather, and you say you end up with a low ridership.
Yeah,
So that's
that makes sense.
So.
It's a nice balance.
Then the next one is, it goes into more detail, the entire month, day by day, and you get how many elderly, disabled, monthly passes, then adults, seniors, you get the total ridership at the end of the day, and so you get the total at the very bottom right there, 1,704, so that gives you pretty much idea day by day how it's going.
So far, this red in the bottom right corner is how many riders we've had so far this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that gives the total that, we hope it will be more, but,
No, that's all.
so we'll see, maybe it'll pick up and we'll end up with higher number.
We're still, I think for the most part, doing a little bit better than last year.
Oh, yeah, no, we're increasing that, and then, I mean, but
Some
like I
months.
said, February is always, kind of low.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one is for our, other lot we have in Dublin, the, Cochise connection. We keep track of the 5-6 month. This month it was 997, and again, we hit way over the 1,000 mark. But these are the days, short days, February, the extra day, the fall, and all that. I mean, we would have been probably maybe 1,200 somewhere. We're increasing. There's been a lot of ridership. The Cochise connection, we're picking up a lot of riders. If you go to the next one, the next one shows where people get up. It's not where they get in the bus and they board the bus. This is the boarding one. We want to know where they are traveling. So. And we also have 5 months of keep tracking that, so you can see what bus stops are the ones that are peaking the most. You can see that the one we noticed is the Cochise College.
Yeah.
And I think this has to do with the cold, like you mentioned again. It's been very, very cold, and the kids, I guess, they change starting this semester. They change hours so that they can get on the bus on the 10 o'clock route that starts from Douglas. They come back. Because at 6, before they were doing that at 6 o'clock, but it's too cold and they don't, or we have another route for it. So you can see, kind of what it is that the kids are choosing to board. And so you can see the other ones. Sierra Vista also has a big chunk of them, and then at the Port Entry. Those are the 3 main ones. Bisbee also has some. For a while was getting a lot of those, but we're seeing other people that are going to work that are using that as transportation, along with the kids, the college kids.
I do have a question. It was come up to us a little bit from the county sheriffs. Are you guys working with the Cochise County Sheriff's jail?
We try to do that, see how we can, pick them up there, but it has to be coming from them, because it's difficult for us to deviate or go in there. Because we have the specific route, 3 times we go in there.
I understand with that.
And we would need to know exactly when somebody's waiting there, as far as, deviating, going inside of there and picking somebody up and then taking them. And also the payment method, which is,
So is that gonna be like a call?
Well,
would that be something like a call for pickup?
Are you talking about for Cochise Connection or Bisbee?
It would be also the same for Bisbee, I guess, that we can
Well,
deviate if they're gonna go to Bisbee and Bisbee area, it would be.
Because they let their inmates out, or let those people out different times of the day. So I almost think we might need to look at actually setting up a stop there for our bus. Because we're getting asked that from them, but also we have a lot of problems in the Saginaw area with them when they get released. They're going into the Saginaw area and bothering a bunch of the homeowners there to get a phone, get a ride, get everything. So I know they're trying to, it came even from our city manager was asking about putting a bus stop there. So.
I was just gonna say, only because I have experience with driving the bus in Bisbee and driving Cochise Connection as well. And if that is the case, if you're looking, Lorena, to actually change the routes, then maybe the Bisbee bus should go in there at the given times whenever, and then take them to Old Bisbee, where Cochise Connection can pick them up and take them to wherever their destination is at.
Yeah, I think that would be the best one.
I mean, that's just an idea, a recommendation. Obviously, you guys aren't, I'm not supposed to be speaking, but this is just,
Because you have the experience. and
because,
that's good.
yes.
Well, yeah, we need the feedback.
No, that's good. Yeah, that's some of the thoughts I had. So that if we can pick them up, then we can get them to Cochise Connection. They can get to Douglas, they can get to Sierra Vista Service or maybe even Benson or
Right.
wherever.
Because I took several people. They would somehow end up, and I understand that, going into Saginaw, because they would walk from the facility into, in between the residential areas. And they would end up at Old Bisbee. Of course, the payment, I think that the detention facility gives them some form of payment so that they can move out.
Yeah, we were discussing, because I also discussed, and then I called Humberto, so, to see what was the better, method, but, maybe doing like a pass,
A pass.
and just for
Yeah, we'll
them.
probably do something like that.
Yeah.
Just to, I mean, they're already down, so we don't wanna kick them while they're down too. So we wanna get them back to where they, to their homes and whatnot, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the county, jail might be, willing to possibly, pay for some passes too, so, possible.
Basically a free ride ticket.
Right, well, they would purchase it, but we would give them the passes, and they would only hand out the passes.
Well, and we could even look at, I mean, yeah, if the county jail does that, but if at some point they don't wanna keep on paying them, I think the city would even look at
Well,
just
just like they
providing
did with
that.
the Gore Park lunches, because they
Yeah.
used to pay for those, but they requested if they could, get up to 20 a month, and then they give them to homeless or people that need to go to a doctor or something that don't have the funds.
Well, even Tin Town at one point in time, they were given some tickets as well, and we would collect those as we would, while they waited here in Bisbee,
Oh, okay.
to make, make whatever transition they needed to do, so.
Also, Premier Alliance requested a shelter over by the corner there, but
Yes.
I did ask the drivers, since you told me to ask them, they don't seem to think there's a lot of people
Which stop?
getting on.
that's
Premier
right.
Alliance is on Naco Highway, and
Granada?
Hereford Road, it's right in the corner there. So, I did ask them, and they don't seem that there's a lot of people there, but Premier Alliance, I think, is starting a new program and wants to encourage people to use the bus. So that's where we're at right now, but we need to let them know how many get on now, which wasn't very much, the number that they gave us. Maybe 4 people, and maybe in a month
And not
or
every
something, not every.
No, and I'm sure with that.
Yeah, that's what, it's still the same.
Yeah, that's what I questioned the drivers, and they said, no, there's not barely
Yeah.
anybody,
Right.
boarding at that park, so there's no reason why we need to be able to.
They suggested other locations that are more heavily used.
Yeah.
Right,
We
and
could
then,
use a shelter.
Yeah, I'm sure there's other
and then at the
locations, but
hospital, they also said,
really need a
but
bus
we need to
stop.
talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do wanna get a shelter at the hospital, but there's constraints there with room
With
for
room,
that, so
exactly.
we gotta work with them on
Yeah.
that. Alrighty. Anything else on Humberto?
No, that's it, that's all I have.
Any questions for Humberto regarding ridership? Alrighty, any comments from members? Comments or questions or ideas or?
I don't understand why stop forward is one stop when it's 2 locations.
Because it stops going,
Well, I
it
understand
stops
it's
when they're
across
going
the
up
street.
and then it stops when they're
I
coming
know,
back.
but they're not in the same place.
Just, well, I don't know, maybe you can answer that a
I
little
mean,
bit better.
just based on my experience, bus stops are unique, and if they're one on one side of the street and another on the other side of the street, they're 2 different stops.
It says Lyric Copper Queen Plaza, but the pickup going southbound is actually that,
Where Barco is.
right where,
Yeah, Copper Creek
Copper
Plaza.
Creek Publishing.
That's,
Yeah,
The
that's-
other one's in the Lyric parking lot. I mean,
and
they're
then
different.
is,
Yeah. I just think it's confusing.
That's why we need to work on our schedule.
Instead of,
That- It's
instead
just,
of having one.
of all my little comments, that's the one that kind of got me the most.
But all those comments are good for
Well, it's
when we
just,
do the review.
Yeah,
Fresh
I don't know,
eyes,
that's,
you know,
that's the way
just
it's
fresh
been
eyes.
since
That's
I
always-
came, 8, 9 years ago, and
Of
that's the
course.
way.
Oh,
they-
that's why I'm saying
I agree
fresh
with you.
eyes
It's
sometimes
it's
look at
confusing,
things.
Yeah.
and they need to
Yeah.
just change the name,
Yeah.
one give it a specific
Right.
name and the other one
Maybe.
another.
Right.
I don't know why,
But
that's the
why
way,
is,
that's the way it is.
Yeah, well, that's,
So, but it certainly is something to take into account if you're gonna be publishing another schedule to try to come up with a
Give another
different
name
name.
and-
would
and a
be-
more
make a difference
accurate
from the lyric
location.
and
yeah.
the blast, I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it's called,
I
what
don't
is it
know why, I
called?
mean,
The
get
company
this-
publishing?
Is it, oh, cause it used to be HVAC, there was a plumbing place there and there's something else there.
Yeah, no, it's Barco's Publishing, right?
Yeah,
No,
yeah, the
it's
the
not.
plumbing was just a sign for their plumbing, it wasn't, they weren't actually there.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe, I don't know how you just, some of the location descriptions, and I put, or you could use a little refinement. I always think about new
And have it
methods.
a little shorter, cause ours is like super long.
Right, there's ways to make them shorter, yeah.
Alright, any other comments?
This is Angel over here in Wilcox,
Yeah,
and I just want to say thank you for having the discussion about the historic landmarks, because eventually our program will hopefully grow to one day having route buses, and you know, we have a lot of historic landmarks around here too, so,
mhm.
I just want to thank you for having that discussion, because we'll probably be crossing that bridge sometime in the future.
Sounds good,
Good,
thank you.
thank you.
Alright, any future, we'll go to item number 9, any future agenda items? I think we need to bring back the historical
Yeah, we can keep.
points of
working on that.
interest.
You'll give me your feedback, and I'll try and gather some pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
We wanna
So
bring
I
back
can send that
the,
by email to everybody, and then, if they have any
Yeah.
feedback, they can, and then I'll forward it to
And
you.
you put it all into one?
Right, and then I'll forward it, and then I'll try and do the brochure also, and then we can discuss that too next time.
Nice, okay.
any other, agenda items?
You've referenced a number of times, changing the schedule. Do you guys have any kind of a timeline for that? Are you doing any surveys or anything?
I think in our next grant, we're gonna ask to do
I think
a
there's-
study.
Planning funds, right, for that?
Yeah, a planning, study or something like that, yeah. So we're gonna
Okay,
be
so you're
asking for that.
looking for a couple years out.
Yeah, cause I think we have to go, whatever steps we have to take, well, I don't even know yet, but we're gonna ask Aubrey.
Yeah, I was just curious, you know, where you guys stood on that, if.
When you
it's-
did it, Humberto, when you changed yours, I mean, it was basically the same information, or did you have to?
We modify whatever names or new bus routes had, so we included that into it,
Does that
changed the
have to go to
format.
radon, or does it just have to be?
Well, if you're gonna need the money, you're gonna have to ask them to, but in your case, I think that you need to do like, because it's too, there's a lot of bus stops that you probably need to modify, so that's gonna take a different approach than just, you know,
Yeah.
publishing and making a change here and a change there.
Maybe
You
you
need
can
to
start with a survey
get somebody
for
that
the
they can
people.
start, you know, making times and see what, and asking the drivers, you know, what it is.
Mhm.
The riders also
The
know
riders.
what
Mhm.
bus stop doesn't work, and
Mhm.
you can eliminate it or open a new one, or
So ma-
try to make the schedule a little efficient more than it is right now, because they're always running late,
Yeah,
and they're always speeding when they
They're always
on their
speeding.
way,
We're
not,
in
so you need
Call
somebody,
that awkward.
and that's gonna take not just maybe $1,000, a couple of $1,000, it's gonna take somebody, if you wanna hire somebody to do a good job, you need to submit that on the grant and next grant, and that's not gonna happen until a year, we're
Right.
just ending our first year, so.
But we could start with a survey.
But you can
right?
start with doing your own surveys.
yeah, I think we can
You know,
do
you can
a
ask the,
quick little survey that we can hand out to our,
To the
the
writers.
riders
And
Yeah.
to the drivers,
Drivers.
and
the
to the
drivers
driver,
really
and
kind of have
I
things
think
they
a
want
lot
to
of
they
that
have a
we
good
can
feel for
do
it, they know
in-house.
what's happening.
Okay.
And we can
Somebody knows, you know, what's working and what's not
make
working in the
changes.
drive.
Yeah.
If we can do it in-house for the most part, I mean, I think we can, so,
If I can help in any way. you know.
Yeah.
so you said,
Thank you.
whenever we can get a survey.
I was just curious, you know, and if it was something that wanted to go on the next agenda, but it sounds like you're out there for a while yet.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, we can do, we'll have to do the survey first and then get those results back and then see what the results tell us.
Yeah,
and then
yeah, that's it.
dive into it.
When you started your schedule, because you're pretty new to the system, did it work for you, or were there changes, or?
So we just had our efficiency study done, that wrapped up at the end of, this last grant cycle. And so from that, we're starting to make changes, and we're looking at, changing our route. But in order to do so, I have to get another driver. So that's my sticking point right now. But what I'm hoping to do is get it into this year's fiscal budget with the city, contingent on funds either from SEGO, ADOT, or donations from the community. And so at least it'll be on our city budget, and then when I talk to ADOT, I'm gonna talk to them about a possible increase in our budget, which I know they don't like, but I'm gonna see if this second year I can bump it up a little bit for a second part-time driver, or third part, anyway, extra part-time driver. And if not, then I'm looking at another year and a half before we can do anything, if I have to wait for for ADOT funding.
One of my thoughts, too, that I would like to look at is, is having fixed routes best for Bisbee too? And for our ridership? Or is it better to do, I don't know what else, I know there's different, options out there, but, I mean, is this the best option for Bisbee?
So one of the things we did in Benson is, we had our regular route running, and then between each regular route, we had what we called a flex route, where we went to the outlying areas where it's not feasible to have a route, like Mescal or J6 or Pomeroy, where there isn't a place to put a bus stop because the houses are a mile apart, you know. And we made it a scheduled ride to where they have to call in at least the prior business day, and then we pick them up at their home, bring them into Walmart, where they can then ride the regular route as they need to. So I don't know the logistics of Bisbee, but that was an option. We're now to the point to where we want to put on a second on-call bus, scheduled rides, and make our route bus every hour instead of every other hour, and get rid of the flex altogether, but have a second dial-a-ride.
Gotcha.
So that's why we need that extra driver.
Fixed route serves most people. They can count on it. And most people, if they have to call a day before, that's not convenient.
Yeah.
Though flexible flag stops, you know, places where people can just walk out, you know, get picked up, that's an option maybe.
We have a lot more rural area than Bisbee does. You're more contained.
Yeah, we're pretty good though. I mean, out
You
Fort
know.
Naco, there's a lot of empty road.
Yeah, but I mean, compared to what she's talking about,
really
they're
sprawling,
pretty.
yeah.
Acres.
I mean,
That's a different kind of.
Well, you know, my thought is, I mean, I know you said it would have to call, but I mean, if we, different ways of, I mean, different types of bus systems and whatnot is, $1 ride, if I'm correct, you can get a ride to wherever, not just on the route. You can get a ride directly from
It's
your
a very
house.
different kind of service, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a curb-to-curb service.
It's a curb-to-curb for people
Yeah.
who have mobility challenges, or they're really rural, you know.
Or it's almost like an Uber type.
Right. And it's very expensive to operate, so.
Yeah.
We have a dialer route, and it is, once you qualify, if you're over 60 or you're disabled, you automatically qualify to give us a call the day before, and we pick you up at your house and we take you anywhere. As long as it is inside the city limits, we can take you.
Oh, I didn't know that was already there.
You just give us a call when you're ready, we'll pick you up.
That's in Douglas.
In Douglas, yes,
Oh.
but Bisbee, in order to do that, you would need to get another driver at
Oh,
the
yeah.
same time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Get another vehicle, so it starts getting, a little.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta get
That's
your
what I'm saying.
own
I mean,
schedule.
That's the issue.
It's,
Because the vehicle that Bisbee has right now, it's just one driver, and you can deviate, you can call, you can deviate so far, and that's it. You can't do anything else
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
than that, so
Yeah,
it's.
yeah, because that's one thing with Bisbee is we don't have Uber, we don't have anything,
Yeah,
So,
we don't
like,
have it in Benson either.
if we
Everybody
have,
complains
like,
about it.
because we have a lot of bars in Old Bisbee. One thing and we have, our police are very active with their DUI stops. So if we can possibly help in a way of, in removing that,
but the service doesn't run late
Possibly.
enough to pick up the drunks.
not with what we have, that's what I'm saying.
Right,
Is there
yeah.
other options that we can have that we can almost, because there are other cities in, I know in Tucson, of course, that's much bigger, but they almost they have a setup to where they can, they get onto the Uber app, and that van or whatnot acts pretty much like an Uber, but it's a city van or whatnot. So, it's just a,
Yeah.
It's very expensive,
well,
just
yeah,
scheduling.
but they also pay. It's a little bit different.
Oh,
They also pay.
They pay an Uber rate.
Yes, they pay an Uber rate.
you didn't say that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just turn on it, and it's pretty much your Uber.
So
But
it's
you're a city-
generating- It's generating some income.
Yeah, it's generating the income.
I don't know. I
And then it
think
gets
we
people
really
off
have to
of
money.
driving.
Yeah,
Drunk.
under the influence, absolutely.
So
Well, if we
that's
give them a ride
just-
to the bar too, it'll really work out.
So it's just just thoughts I had. I mean, especially because we have a lot of people that, we have a lot of bars in Old Bisbee, so.
Just for your information, at the ASTA conference, the last few years that I've been, they've had various, workshops on, microtransit, which sounds similar to what you're talking about. And,
Yeah.
so it may behoove you to look at the agenda and get up to Phoenix and talk to them if that's a direction you're going, about how it works and the logistics and, that kind of thing, just.
Yeah. So you can go to one of those, Lauren, while you're up there.
Okay.
I'm sending her and one of our other ladies. I'm not going up this time.
There you go. You have been assigned.
So, all right, do I have a motion for adjournment?
Yeah, I move that we,
A second.
All right, we have a second. All in favor? All right. Nays? All right, we are adjourned.
I want to stay for another while.
Thank you, Angel.
Thank you, I appreciate